Hi, this is Shar with Psychic Miss Paranormal and Elite Paranormal Specialists. I wanted to talk to you today about curses and how they can be so strong that it could actually send negative forces and even demonic entities into your life. I was inspired to do this video because somebody had wrote to me and they were asking me if I could please remove a black magic curse that was placed on them, and they're having problems and issues such as bad illnesses, accidents, and scratches and attacks. And this can happen from a curse. However, the person, and I'm going to keep all names and everything, confidential, the person doesn't understand how these things work. They're located very, very far away from me in another country. So when somebody places a curse on you, it could be many different kinds of curses. A curse isn't just a single curse. It's not like, ooh, I curse you. I mean, people do that, and that can actually cause issues in someone's life, something that's simple. But there are many, many different kinds of curses. Anything from just causing minor irritation to somebody's life, all the way to death. And if you think that that can't happen, you're wrong. It can. A lot of people that practice curses feel that they're getting back somebody that deserves it. They're playing the justifier and the judge of that person. Some people just want to get back at them for revenge. There's a lot of reasons why people put curses on other people. I'm not condoning curses. However, with bad, they're all negative. They're all bad intentions. Maybe it's like, well, I need to get back at you because you hurt my family. And as bad as as bad as that can be, sometimes you feel like, oh my God, it could be something bad could have happened to your family member, and you feel like you just need to get that person back. But a curse is not condonable in any way, shape, or form. So there's more than one kind of curse. There are hexes, jinxes. You can lay tricks on somebody. You can give them the evil eye, the Maloik. There are so many different types of voodoo curses and African curses, and just everything. Every country, every religion, every belief system, they have their own. A very strong practitioner can really cause some severe damage and harm. So a lot of curses are done with ceremonies and rituals. Some are just simple spells, but strong enough to really cause some panic or chaos in your life. And other times, the practitioner will use ceremonies and rituals to make that even stronger, make the power of the curse even stronger. Then there are curses where the practitioner utilizes another being. So these beings can and are usually very malevolent beings. They could be malevolent deities, and I know that kind of sounds contradicting. Everyone thinks of a deity as a good and benevolent being that, hey, they created us. I mean, how bad could they be? Some people worship Lucifer as a god. I'm not going against anyone's belief systems here, and I'm not here to talk about that kind of thing. It's just there are many deities that people can call on. They are powerful regardless of what your belief is. There's also otherworldly beings that are malevolent. And of course, there's the good old demons. And we all know that demons are insanely powerful and strong, extremely intelligent beings. And demons love it when you call them in to go toward a curse. Like they're all in. They're like, yeah, count me in. I'm in on this. And they will stick around for the long haul And even if you want to pull back that curse, the demon doesn't want to pull back. They put any time and investment into that curse, you bet you that they are not going to want to pull back. Once they put some time and effort into something and they want to go after someone, that's going to be very difficult to try to change that. So this is kind of what this person's dealing with. However, they've been dealing with it for a very, very long time. They've been dealing with this for a couple of decades. How they didn't manage to go get help before that, I don't know. It's nothing to play around with. I do question, however, that the entity in question is a demon, only because there hasn't been any possessions. I cannot get enough information from this person to make a fair assessment, but the whole point of this video is I want people to understand that just because somebody that lives in, I'm just going to pick out somewhere, say someone lives in Sweden, and they decide that they don't like somebody that lives in Alabama in the United States, so they're going to put a curse on them. They can do that long distance. You can do that. That is true. Some people, if it's a simple hex or a jinx, you can take that off of somebody, also long distance. If you involve a strong entity, well, that's a whole different story. Yeah, you can do it from the long distance. You certainly can, but to remove it, especially if you give it a chance to embed itself into that person's life, it's not so easy. A lot of times it's hard to break a curse just because you don't know what the curse is. You don't know what kind of curse it is, what was used. You don't know what the caster did. You know, these casters can do things that are incredible. They can use binding, they can use layering, they can use different spells and different ceremonies and rituals that will make it almost impossible to figure out what type of curse this is. Now, the person, their life will be affected. They can tell, hey, I'm sick all the time. Doctors say there's nothing wrong with me. No one can find anything. Very well could be a curse. If you're getting scratched and attacked and you have illnesses and accidents all the time, that's a bad problem. That's not something you wait around for at all. So when you have a dark issue that's that bad, a person who is going to attempt to remove that dark issue needs to go to that location. They need to speak to those people in person, because you can tell a lot about what's going on from talking to somebody. You also need to assess the home or the location that the person is living at. You need to try to figure out what the root problem was with this curse, if it is a curse. There's other things that could happen too. It might not have been a curse. If someone was dabbling in black magic or pissed somebody off that that works with curses, well, that might be a curse. And to have a demon come along with it, that's not unusual. Or it might not be from a curse. They could have been in a location. They could have done something that attracted a demon. They could have been, maybe they have a chronic illness, or maybe they have a mental issue. I'm not saying just because people have mental issues, they're going to automatically get a demon. That's not true. But it depends on the issue. It depends on their behavior, their thought patterns, what they do. Do they exude an enormous amount of negative energy? Because negative energy is going to go out there and attract more negative energy. You're going to attract it. It's going to be like, hey, here I am. And other negative energy is going to spot you. This is like a whole book that I could write on this subject alone. But if you are doing things like drugs or alcohol in excess, that can also attract negative energies. They call them spirits for a reason. When you drink, they do call them spirits for a reason. So an assessment has to be made. Also, you need to think about the safety of the people that are having the issue, and you need to think about the safety of yourself and your family. If there is a demon involved, you can bet 110% that they are not going to be happy with you stepping into their territory trying to get rid of them. You can bet that they aren't going to just sit there and say, oh, well, okay, I guess I should leave now. That is not going to happen. The person that wants you to remove them will probably be attacked a lot because they want to beat these people down and be like, no, stop, don't help me anymore. It's worse. I can't deal with this. It's worse. And it will get worse. They will make it as bad as possible to get rid of the person that's trying to get rid of them. They will also attack the person who is trying to get rid of them. And they could also attack people that they know and love. This is the way they work. So a lot of care has to be taken there. There are ways to protect yourself, but when you are physically and mentally and emotionally trying to remove something like that, a lot of protection methods can fly right out the window. These beings are not stupid. They can read you like a book. They know everything about you. They can read your mind. You can prevent that from happening, but you have to really have been practicing strong meditation, probably for decades. If you think that you have a curse or a hex, and there are differences between the different kinds of curses, and then there's a ton of variety of what curses and hexes and everything can consist of. So if you think you have one, don't be too discouraged. I mean, if you are having bad luck, or if, no matter what you do, you can't find love, it doesn't mean you have a curse or a hex. It just could mean that the time in your life isn't right yet. But if you do have something like that, these kind of things could be removed with other methods. Sometimes a person might have to be there to help you out, and other times maybe they can do it from a distance or tell you how to do it. But if there is any other kind of being that is attached to a curse, or just the being itself, you're not going to do it from a distance, believe me. You might be able to make contact with that being from a distance, but once they have any clue that you are trying to remove them, it doesn't matter where you go in this world. They can go, they can follow, and they will psychically attack you at first. Also, something else to keep in mind is that demons come with a horde of other demons. They have legions. Even if a demon possesses somebody, they don't possess them by themselves. That person could be possessed by 20 other demons. They just have one that sort of takes the lead. It's like, this is my property. This is my possession. But they come together with others and they try to branch out because this person knows other people. And, maybe they'll start working on family members, friends, and whoever else they think that might be a good target for them. So be aware of that as well. So the whole point of this is just to let you know that curses, hexes, things that are placed upon you, they can be extremely powerful. And if you see somebody like on Etsy or some of these places, these psychics are saying, I can remove a curse for you, I can remove a hex for you. It depends what it is. If it's a simple one, perhaps they can. But if it's something really serious, they're not going to do it long distance. They're just not going to do it long distance. And if they do manage to get them to step back a little bit, it'll come back probably with a vengeance. And a lot of the people that work on breaking these black magic curses and hexes from a distance like that, and a lot of times you need to look into them to make sure that they're not black magic practitioners. because the reason that they're not getting any rebound or flack from a lot of the demonic entities is because they work with them. So they might be like, hey, step back, they give them offerings. And sometimes they, if you think that demons won't work with you, that's not true either. They will. They will work with you. And that's a whole other story too. So just wanted to give a little education there, because I feel bad. Like, I wish I could help everybody, but I can't help a person who lives all the way across the globe with a situation that is this serious. This is the minute I step into that, I'm going to be at risk. My family's going to be at risk, and they are going to be at a much bigger risk. And I'm not there to do anything to help them that way. I did give them other sources to go to. I did give them other resources to look into. I'm trying to reach out to find other help for them as well. That's something I want to be honest about. I'm not going to tell you, yeah, I can do something for you if I can't do that for you. That is who I am. And but I want you to know. I want you to be aware. So, just be careful of what you get yourself into. If you are a person who works in the paranormal field, and when I say paranormal, I am also including psychic work, magical workings, forbidden arts workings, any of that. If you work in those fields, eventually, sooner or later, you are going to come across dark entities, malevolent entities, maybe a demonic entity, especially with the way the world is now. Everything is so negative in this world and dark in this world. The amount of dark hauntings and demonic possessions have been increasing. So you need to be really careful. You need to know how to protect yourself against these things. You need to learn psychic protection and advanced psychic protection. You need to be able to recognize what you're walking into before you walk into it. And people that work with magic, a lot of other magical casters and users, you need to be careful, because if you make someone angry, a lot of the times people don't care if they, decide to zap you back. So, people are kind of rude these days. I'm not saying that everybody is that way. Unfortunately, people have changed, and it's sad. So just be careful. This is just kind of I want you to be cautious video. People in the paranormal, if you're going out doing investigations, always know what you're walking into first. Now, if you're doing a field investigation or research investigation, do some research into the location that you're going. A lot of the hospitals, asylums, prisons, cemeteries, they carry a lot of negative energy from grieving people, from violence, different things like that. And it attracts negative energy, and more negative energy comes, and eventually malevolent entities may come. So you definitely have to use your protection there. The longer you stay in paranormal work, the more chances you're going to get of running into malevolent entities. So you need to know emergency procedures. You need to know what to do in case of an attack from malevolent entities. You need to know how to help your teammates in case of a semi-possession that might occur, how to prevent that from happening in the first place. These are all very important things to learn. And the longer you're in those fields, the more likely you're going to come across a situation like that. So even psychics that might just do some card readings, it's fun on the side, or maybe you're doing it for a living. Just because you're contacting a deceased person, or maybe you're working with an angel to do your readings, or maybe you're working with your spirit guide to do your readings, or maybe you don't even know who you're working with, and that is extremely dangerous, because you're getting your information from an entity. You might think it's universal knowledge, and it is, but take my word for it, you are getting your information from some entity out there that is bringing you some clear cut information to your psychic senses. So you need to know who it is that you are working with. But okay, so if you're working with an angel, is it an angel of the light, or is it an angel of the dark? If you just ask for an angel, angels of the dark, fallen angels, they're angels too. So you have to be specific. If you know that you're working with an angel of the light, that's great, absolutely great. But that doesn't mean that a malevolent entity cannot find its way into your readings or into your life. You have a spiritual beacon, and that shines bright out into the astral planes and the spiritual planes, and it can attract any type of entity to you. Usually it attracts like energy, but if you're not very well protected, other entities are like, good prey there, let's have some fun. So you have to be careful. Just because you think you're doing something easy or simple, that doesn't mean that you can't find yourself in a bad position. The likeliness of this happening for psychics is probably a little bit less than maybe paranormal investigators, and it's even a little bit higher for magical users. And even if you're only practicing white magic, little tidbit of information, and I know some of you may totally disagree with me, but all magic stems from black magic, from ancient arts, and so it makes it white magic depending on what you're doing with it. And then there's even gray magic, somebody who works with both light and dark magic. And then there are people who do black magic practices, but they're not doing it to hurt anybody. They're actually doing it and using the powers of black magic to do something good. And that doesn't mean they're using demons to help somebody. It just means that they're the techniques that they're using for good. So it's both ways. I've seen so many people using white magic, but they're hurting other people. And that would be known as light corruption. So anyway, it can go on and on and on. I just wanted to let you kind of know about these curses, hexes, and demonic entities, and how things kind of can work out there. And that it's not just a cut and dry procedure to try to break a curse, especially one that's so severe and they're located so far away, because you have to go in, you have to assess the situation, you need to be there to see what is going on. And if somebody says that they can do it, something that severe from such a distance, they're either working with demons or they just I wouldn't believe them. Maybe they could get them to back off for a while, but like I said, they'll come back with a vengeance. Out of 40 years, I've never seen anybody successfully accomplish that. I'm not saying that it can't be done ever. I mean, there's always a first for everything. Paranormal Golden Rule states that there are no rules, because just when you think, that you figure something out in the paranormal, it changes on you just like that. And, one more thing, just because you're not involved in the paranormal at all, maybe just like to sit and watch some TV shows or, it doesn't mean that you can never come across a demon. It doesn't mean that you can never come across a negative energy. It also means that, there's a possibility that somewhere down the line you could be exposed to something, and not because you're watching the show. I just want to know that people who aren't involved in paranormal still have a chance of running into something. But I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you do, give me a like, share with your friends, because it's important. People need to know how this kind of thing works. This is Shara with Psychic with Paranormal and Elite Paranormal Specialists. Have a safe night.